Hey guys, I'm learning TFT. In this video, I'm going to do a deep dive into how to optimize your 4-2 roll down with feedback from Rain and Aesah. I recently got back to Challenger, especially as I was preparing for the Tactician's trials in the last week, both making snapshot and participating in the trials. First day, I did reasonably well. I started off the day, second day I didn't do that hot, but first day, I started off strong with 2 first places, and I'm gonna go into some game examples from the trials of situations where I did not execute this 4-2 roll down, and I'm still learning how to improve it. So if you want to jump straight to the 4-2 roll down discussion with Rain and the general principles, take a look at the timestamp in the description below. Before we do that, I'm going to dive into the meta mindset of today, which is time management and prioritization, which is actually core to how to optimize your 4-2 roll down, but also very useful in terms of how to approach life, how to improve your decision making in terms of prioritization for TFT on your roll downs, as well as when you are trying to figure out how to balance between the million things happening in your life, in your job. This is a very useful life skill as well as game skill. So as far as these core ideas, Peter Drucker, I shared this with you before, said that there is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. And this came in very true in one of my games on a roll down where I was doing something that I should not have been doing at all. And that's just a complete waste of time. Even if you do it really well, there's something way better that you could be doing. Steve Jobs said, "It's only by saying no that you can concentrate on the things that are really important." Sun Tzu said, "Preparedness everywhere means lack everywhere." Gary Keller, from his book The One Thing, said, "What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary?" This is a really, really interesting and simple question to ask you that can have rippling effects throughout your entire life. Brian Christians and Tom Griffiths said, "This is the first and most fundamental insight of sorting theory. Scale hurts." So this is a computer science algorithms book. And one of the core insights from an algorithmic standpoint and complexity standpoint is that when you have a list of things that you're trying to do, the larger that list, the sorting that list and figuring out which one you should do first gets, I forget the O of n complexity, but it's like significantly worse than linear complexity. I forget if it's exponential or but it's very painful the more things you have to sort through, which is why when you aren't sure what to do, the first thing is to actually eliminate the things that you shouldn't do so that your sorting algorithm gets easier. And this is also going to be extremely relevant to figuring out how to optimize your 4-2 roll down. I suspect that, and this has definitely been true for me, but I suspect for a lot of top players, they're not necessarily choosing the right things to focus on the 4-2 roll down, because this is one of the hardest turns that you can have in TFT. And so making sure that you are focusing on the right things, not doing the useless things, and eliminating the things that you shouldn't be doing so that it makes it easier to prioritize the things that you should be doing. It continues to say that minimizing our pain and suffering when it comes to sorting is all about minimizing the number of things we have to sort. So again, this goes back to eliminating the things that you should not be doing. Related to this idea, this chart is from, or graph is from James Clear. There's this idea called the Eisenhower box or Eisenhower matrix. It's a 2x2 where on the left hand y-axis is on top important and not important. And on the x-axis is urgent and not urgent. And this is a core concept that I use with many of my executive coaching startup founder clients. The basic idea here is that a lot of times when you have a million things on your laundry list of things to do, it can get lost in the noise as to what is important versus not important. and urgent and not urgent. And a lot of times we end up doing all of these small things because they're easier to do that are not important and not urgent, to procrastinate because maybe we're just over complexifying things because we don't know what to even sort by because the algorithm is too complex, and so we just get overwhelmed. And so this is a really useful algorithm to simplify your life. So the first step is actually to put all the things that are on your to-do list into this matrix. And then in the bottom right, the things that are not important and not urgent, remove that from your life. And part of this requires some introspection. Maybe you could do a time log on how you spend your time across your day. But stuff like watching TV or checking social media, checking Reddit, whatever, that at the end of the day is not very important and not urgent, and you can eliminate those things from your life. Now, I'm not saying remove all pleasure and entertainment from your life, because that can actually be somewhat important because it helps you unwind at night. It can help you relax. So that is important to a certain extent, but it's not the most important thing that you have on your list. And if you're doing the not important things excessively, that can basically eliminate your resources to do the things that are important to you. Secondly, when you figure out what's not important but is somewhat urgent, this is more relevant as you move up in your career. I see this a lot for startup founders who are hiring employees, for managers who are learning to go from an individual contributor to a management position, going from even a management position to an executive position. A lot of times what worked for you in the past and were your strengths then become your weaknesses because you're used to doing the things that worked, that helped you get to where you are now. But what you need to do to get to the next level is to move up the abstraction hierarchy to focus on strategy over tactics and vision even over strategy. And the only way to do those important things is to figure out how to delegate the smaller things, not the smaller things, but the stuff that's lower on the hierarchy of things to do. For the stuff that's important and not urgent, figure out how to time it so that you can spread it out. If you're always working on the things, a lot of times we feel like, oh, there's so many important things to do, and we focus on the not urgent stuff. And maybe the urgent stuff is actually has a higher barrier to entry. It's a bigger project, so we procrastinate it. But as a result of that, a lot of times we do the not urgent stuff over the urgent stuff. And so then the most important stuff never really gets done. And so one way to do that is to schedule it. What I do is I set a Google task or a Google Calendar with a reminder so that I have a queue to initiate a task that I know I want to do, but it's not urgent. I also have a Trello board Kanban table type thing where I basically have 4 columns where I have what's urgent and important, what's not urgent and important, what's urgent and not important, and then stuff here, which I just add. I'll add it to my it's like a triage at a hospital. I'll add a to-do list or a to-do task, and then I will figure out where do I put it on this. And then even within the task list, I can sort between it. And so this approach can really help you simplify your life. And one even more macro thing here is that if you don't know what is important to you in your life, your value system, what are your big goals, what, from a, let's say 1 year standpoint, 5-year standpoint, where do you want to be in your life? Then it's hard to even figure out what is important and what is not important, right? So even before you could do this high level exercise, you kind of need to ask yourself, what are you trying to optimize for? What's your goal state? And not just a goal state from what are your friends telling you to do? What are your parents telling you to do? What are your teachers asking you to do? Your boss telling you to do? Like, if you really want to do this and do it well for your life, it's asking yourself, what's most important to me? Not to everyone else, not to what's going to give me praise, not to what's going to get me someone to like me, but what's important to me so that I can respect myself, like myself, and follow the things that are true to my heart, right? So asking those questions is really important to even figure out how to get started on this chart. All right, so that's your meta mindset. of the day on time management and prioritization. So we're going to jump into Rain and Aesah's really brief coaching.
So while we're going on, I like, okay, so like I actually draw a shape on my board. Like mentally speaking, I draw a shape, like an S shape around all the units I'm gonna sell, and I just like like as soon as the next round starts, I just insta sell them. This is a lot harder if you're flexing around two lines, which like sometimes you'll have to do, and that will slow down your roll speed. But I think your 4-2 can be so much faster if you just have like mentally committed already to selling Darius, Swain, Vladimir.
I mean, do you even need Rennie?
um,
Like, there's a chance
Vladimir.
Rennie is your strongest board, but like, I would just sell her.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Like,
open
at
sell all of the
yeah.
non-enforcer and like Elise.
Yeah, okay, like if you are a TFT AI here, I think you're actually supposed to hold like
Well,
you're
of
probably
course, you
supposed to
hold
hold
everything.
like Swain and Vladimir and maybe even Rennie. But like practically speaking, you want to do this turn fast. You want to be able to transition this turn. Like this turn, you're selecting your augment, you're rolling, you're positioning, you're itemizing. Like the fastest players, like Bishop Setsuko, or like anyone, I don't know. Like I think I'm pretty fast as well. Will not have enough time this round to do everything they want. But like you want to get to like 80% of what you want, or like 90% of what you want. You want to like at least have the time to do a roll down. You want to at least have the time to like get your items on, even if you can't position, even if you don't like do your roll down perfectly, even if like sometimes you miss an opportunity to make a slightly stronger board. Like I think the life here is worth a lot if you can just roll and secure a life.
Okay.
Specifically because you're low HP. Like if you were higher HP, this would matter a little bit less, but it still matters.
Yeah, it's still like you might as well.
If you're higher HP, does that change your algorithm for this roll down? Like, are you doing anything differently, or is your approach the same? Okay, so I'm gonna stop there, and I have this kind of summarized over here in the 4-2 roll down principles. So going back to the meta mindset, right? You want focus on avoiding the things that you shouldn't be doing and figuring out what is the most important. So Rain's point on this 4-2 roll down is that you really got to know what's important. And the key idea is right here, I'm playing an enforcer angle. And on this roll down, I should be trying to get to at least 6 enforcer. I should be trying to find Vi, Loris. So I have Maddie, Steb, 1, 2, TF3, Camille 4, Loris 5, and I should be finding a Vi. That's like kind of the core essence of this 4-2 roll down. If I'm lucky, I can hit a Vi 2. I should hopefully be able to hit a Loris 2 or a TF2. And hopefully that will help stabilize my board. That should be my primary goal for this turn. And part of that Aesah's point is that I spent too much time just even picking this augment. I think I took about 15 to 20 seconds. His point is you got to pick that in 5 to 10 seconds. The bigger thing that's going to Rain's point around I'm low HP, I got to save HP at this point. In fact, every loss here is potentially 1 life. It's 8 damage from the round in stage 4 plus 1 damage per every unit. So if I take a 4-unit loss, that's 12 HP, could be 1 placement at the end. And so picking a good enough augment is better than picking a great augment if it allows you to have an extra 20 seconds to be able to upgrade your board, because that will actually save you possibly 1 or 2 lives here. And that's more valuable than having a slightly better augment. One thing you can do that Marcel has made a point of previously is you can bucket your augments and prepare on 4-1 to think, what augment do I need? If I already have item augments, then maybe I should be leaning towards team combat. If I'm low on gold, maybe I should try to find an econ augment like reinforcement. If I have a bunch of 3 stars and I don't have items, maybe I need an item augment. All right, so think planning ahead, but picking your augment quickly. And then Rain's point where she would just open sell all the units that are not going to go on your board. So it would be, she said, draw an S, or visualize on your board which units you're going to keep. In this case, I would just keep Maddie, Steb. I can keep this sniper for now. So just open sell everything on this board. I could have also sorted my bench. So move the Loris over here and open sell everything on the right that's not an enforcer. And that way, as I'm doing the roll down, I am simplifying my sorting process in my brain to not worry about having to, be bench locked, figure out on the fly while I'm rolling down which unit I should sell, which unit I should buy, which just increases the complexity of the sorting algorithm exponentially. And so this way, and also not buying units that won't go onto my board. This is something I get trapped in. I see a quote good unit or a unit that could hold this BT and Infinity Force, and then I'm like, oh, I could have alternate line. But that not only makes your roll down a lot slower, it sucks up gold on your bench that could also be used for rolling at the end. So yeah, prioritize what's most important, which mentally prepare before your roll down turn. You put your units in the team planner, select your augment quickly so you can think ahead which augment bucket, open sell the shitter units, do your roll down picking up the units that you want, avoid picking up units that won't go on your final board, and then the suggestion Aesah and Rain had is with around 5 seconds left, use a remover if needed, position and itemize as the round begins. Rain's point even was furthermore that your position actually is far less impactful than whether you have 2-star units on your board. Like if I just open sold and like put all my units in the back row, if I have 2 stars, that's going to save me more HP than if I have perfect positioning because I spent that time on it but had less time to roll down and hit my 2 stars. Another point that they mentioned is that if I'm worried about not having enough time, I could start rolling down 10 to 20 gold the round before, level up and do that. And even if you lose out on, let's say, 3 gold of interest because you roll down to 20 gold, Rain's point is she would even rather have, and part of the reason that I was slow on this turn, or actually even on a previous turn, no, it was this turn, is because if you see here for the second augment, I have diversified portfolio plus. So I was like, oh, should I greed econ here? And Rain's point is not only would she not greed econ, she would potentially even consider rolling the turn before or rolling far more aggressively, because at this stage in the game, it's more important to have more HP and lives than it is to have gold. If you think about last set with charms, you can think about it as in, let's say you were offered a charm that said you can have 5 gold, you could gain 5 gold or you can gain 1 life. Which charm would you pick? And let's say it was free. And in that case, Brain would say it's very clear. Like, I'd much rather have 1 life at this stage of the game than to have 5 gold. That analysis may change if you were at 90 HP, but if you're really low HP, you'd rather have the lives than the gold. And so key idea here is that upgraded 3 and 4 cost units are more important than your augment and your positioning. A good enough augment with more time, therefore, is more important than a great augment with less time, because time in this case can be converted as a resource into upgraded 3 and 4 cost units. And in stage 4, each loss can be 1 life, so prioritize your lives over gold. So I'm gonna go into some examples here. All right, so first example, this game was a scrap game where I actually have very good augments. I have Trade Tracker here with Cloning Facility. Cloning Facility, when you clone a scrap unit, that the clone also gains the shield, so it's very good value. And I need to unlock the Trade Tracker, which I have it in my team planner. But you can see here, I was trying to flex too much, partly because in the way that I was going to unlock it has 1, 2, 3. So it's Steb, Trundle, Maddie, Rel, Urgot, Tristana, Swain, and here, let me just put it into a team planner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What am I missing? forget exactly what the board was to put this together. Oh, Urgot and Tristana. Yeah, this is the board I was going for. And I'm missing... What am I missing? I'm missing Swain. So, okay, one way of looking at this is I have everything on the left here. Okay, I have everything on the left side, and I'm missing everything on the right side. And so if we go back to Rain and Aesah's feedback on my 4-2 roll down, or I could even do it now, because think about how much gold I have on my board, right? I have 4 plus 3 plus 5. Like, I have a lot of gold on my board, and I need time to transition. So to Rain's point, I think I probably should have just leveled here. Open sell all the units that are not going here or on scrap, because Trade Tracker I'm building into scrap. So just open sell all the units that are not scrap and not here, except for Elise, because Elise will eventually go onto my scrap board. And then level and roll down for this. I was trying to see if there was a way to do it with Ambessa, but I didn't mentally prepare it. I think the simpler way is actually Nami and this work? 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So it could have actually been Nami Draven or Urgot Tristana. But Urgot Tristana transitions more naturally into scrap because with Corki you want Artillerist and Gangplank wants Pit Fighter. So and Gangplank you want eventually on your board anyway. So really it's like these 3 units that are not, and actually it's really just Swain, right? These 3 can actually go on the board. So it's just, that's what I'm missing, right? And you'll see here, or let me pull up what happened in the actual game. Alright, so I picked quickly. I want to pick this. So I picked with 5 seconds on the clock. Now look at what I do. So I'm leveling, but okay, what's the most important thing I should be focused on, right? This goes back to the Eisenhower matrix. Where's that? Okay, what is important and urgent right now? The most important thing that I should be doing is cashing out Trade Tracker. Instead, I am picking up items. Like, in terms of the order of importance here, that is like on the not important side, right? Like, why do I care about the items? I'm not even trying to win this round. I need to cash out my board, which means I'm going to be putting in pretty shit units, which even if they're itemized, what's that going to save me in the best case? Like 1 or 2 HP because I kill 1 or 2 more units? Is that worth it? No, right? Like, that's not important. Picking up the items, and it's really not urgent. I should just delete that. That task should be eliminated from my task list. Not only that, I'm taking up a bench slot, which is even worse. Okay, so that's key mistake number 1. I'm spending time picking up items. All right, and then I'm placing the items. Like, really? Is that my primary goal right now? Is positioning the most important thing I should be doing right now? No. Cashing out Trade Tracker is. Which means I should, in this case, if we go back to this checklist, I should have been mentally preparing. I did select my augment quickly. I did not open sell, so I should be selling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. And then I should be placing all the units that I do want onto my board. All these units that I do want onto my board right now, and then I should be rolling down, picking up the units I do want. So that's the GP Swain. I got the Urgot, so I just need Tristana. So I just need GP Swain Tristana. And the thing is, when I look at this, it's like so much noise, and it's, again, going back to this, right? Minimizing our pain and suffering when it comes to sorting is all about minimizing the number of things we have to sort. Scale hurts in sorting theory. So by simplifying, by removing and selling all the units I don't need, it can really minimize that pain. Avoid picking up units that won't go on your final board, which I'm not even doing because it's like so hard. Right? I'm even thinking about buying extra units, which I should not be doing. And I actually have the Tristana. I have the Swain. I actually have all of the units I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I'm missing GP. But I would have had way more time to process it if I didn't open these anvils, if I didn't try to position, if I didn't pick up useless units, right? So, and then itemization and positioning matters last. So the biggest lesson here is I was focusing on the wrong things. I was doing the things that were not important and not urgent, right? Like the items are not urgent. The thing that's going to save me the most lives is cashing out Trade Tracker for scrap. All right, so that's example number 1. And then example number 2. Okay, so this game is a sort game. I have Slammin and this salvage bin, and I should really be focusing on sorts on my roll down. We'll see what we do here. So I have a really good setup for Emissary Sort because I have the Garen pair, I have Nami too, but I'm buying this useless Cassiopeia. I did not open sell, so first off, going back to this, I should have been mentally preparing. And by the way, I did roll down 1 turn earlier on 4-1 because I was contested in this game. But I should be open selling 1, 2, 3 units. Although technically, because I'm carrying a Zoe here, I wanted to keep the Rebels. But to simplify even further, like when you're in stage 4, this is not going to make much of a difference. So I should be open selling 1, 2, 3. I should not be picking up this Cassiopeia. And you can see there that I got bench locked from that GP, which is actually very relevant because if I hit a Swain 2, I do want that form swapper to increase durability for Swain in the front line, which I would have been able to see that better if I just sold these 3 units, right? So like Rain was saying, visualize in your mind like a picture. In this case, it'd be like this curve. I should just be thinking instantly sell the moment the round begins. And now I'm running out of space on my bench. And I do want to hold the Aurelia in case I can find Aurelia and Alawi as a backup frontline. But given that I already have the Garen pair, I should probably just stick with that as the possibility. And I'm even picking up this Malzahar, which makes everything a lot more complex. This is more relevant if I am willing to open pivot into like a 6 visionary line or a Black Rose visionary line, which is a strategy that I've seen more and more players at the really high level start doing. But A, I'm low on time. B, I have Garen pair, which actually can still be played with this. So I could technically pivot over to this, but I'm not that comfortable with that line yet. And ideally, if I had open sold, put the Garen on my board, I'm just missing the Ambessa. Like sticking with Sork is still probably the safer play because I have no other visionaries. I'm still rolling down, and I just like kind of run out of time. And so in this case, I like barely lose this fight. If I had just rolled, you know, a few more times, I could hit. Right now I have Swain pair, I have Zyra pair, I have Garen pair, I have a Lux 2 on my bench, which if I had open sold these 2, I would have realized I should be playing 6 Sork. There were so many things that I could have been doing on this turn. Buying the GP, moving the tank items over to Swain. Even a Swain 1 with tank items would have been better. So many things on this single turn that if I had just simplified the decision-making process, open sold, and not picking up this Malzahar, not picking up this Cassiopeia, and having fewer things to prioritize would have made a big difference in the outcome of this single fight, which actually ended up making a big difference in the end game because this person had a Zoe pair. This was actually my primary contester, and I forget if there's one other person contesting as well on the Garens, but I ended up not being able to hit a Garen 2 for a while, I believe because someone else hit a Garen 2. So all of these small optimizations can make a huge difference on your stage 4 roll down. So with that said, I hope that you found this discussion on prioritization, time management useful. I would love to hear your thoughts, questions, comments in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.